Okay, just a quick review for any of you guys who still haven't done the Unit 2 test. This is the review that I did with the class. First thing you want to do is go open up your Google Classroom and find the classwork. And then under Unit 2, depending on which class you're in, sometimes it's up on the top, sometimes it's way down here at the bottom. You want to find the listing for Unit 2 test. All right, tap on the document. This is going to be your equation sheet for this test. And so what I've just done is just clipped the left part of the equation sheet. And then I wrote some things on here that are already on the equation sheet, but just in a different spot. So let's go over these equations. The first one we did in the first unit test, it's likely not going to be on this test. Second one, A equals VF minus VI divided by T. If you're asked a question where they're asking you for the acceleration and they give you a starting speed and a finishing speed, and they give you a time, this is the equation that you want to use. Remember that there's possible times when you'll have a negative number here. When your final velocity is slower than your initial velocity, that means that your acceleration is negative, meaning that the object is slowing down. Okay, this is left to right, not up and down. All right, the second one is Newton's second law. A equals F net divided by M. Cannot tell you how many times people ask me, Mr. Block, I don't know how to start the problem. And if they just did the 4-column method, if they just wrote down what they're given, they're likely going to see that they're given the A of the acceleration of the object, the F, and they're asked for to find the M or something like that. And they'll say, oh, I can see it right now. I need to use either this version of Newton's second law, A equals F net divided by M, or F equals MA. These are the same equations, just rearranged. Okay. The next thing, weight. Weight, whenever you're asked for weight, remember there's a weight equation on your equation sheet. Weight equals mass times G, or gravity. Gravity is negative 9.8. And so when you get weight, can't have a negative mass, so it's a positive number times a negative number. You'll get a negative weight, meaning a downward force down. Okay, so let's take a break here from the equations and let's talk about weight, mass, and inertia. Okay, so these are important concepts for the test. Weight is the force of gravity. So weight is a force, and weight has a unit of newtons. Mass, remember mass, we said if we had a marker and the marker has a certain amount of stuff, that's mass. And mass can never change, right? This is the amount of stuff. If I take this marker and I bring it to the moon, it still has the same amount of stuff. And so mass does not change where you're at if you're on the Earth or the moon. Okay. Then there's the idea of called inertia. Inertia was the resistance to change in motion. A big thing does not want to start moving. It's going to take a lot of force to move it. And a big thing, once it's moving, is going to take a big amount of force to stop it. And so inertia is very similar to mass. And so inertia doesn't change either. Okay. But weight does. Why does weight change? Well, because when we look at the weight equation, here, right over here, weight equals mass times gravity. Since mass doesn't change, but if we're on a planet where the gravity is less, like the moon's gravity is only negative 1.6, where the gravity on Earth is negative 9.8, and therefore things weigh less on the moon. All right, so those were the equations right here. A, we're going to use that one at least twice. Weight, you're going to have, there's certainly going to be Newton's second law. And the last thing we did was free fall. And so if you see an object that's falling and they want to ask what the velocity is, remember you'll use the free fall velocity equation. Vf equals Vi plus At. A is negative 9.8. If they ask for the distance, you remember you're going to use VIT plus 1/2 At squared. All right, couple things for you to know right now. There are two difficult problems on the test. One has to do with the force of friction. Okay, there's three parts to that question. make sure that you know for sure that you can get 2. Okay, I know for sure you'll be able to get the first part and the third part. There's not many of you guys who are going to get the middle part without a lot of assistance, and so don't worry if you can't get that middle part. The other problem that's really difficult is, remember we talked about what how long will it take for something to get to the top of its path. And we use that VF equals VI plus AT equation, and we use the trick. Remember that there was a trick that if we were asked to find how long it takes to get to the top of a path, the ball gets thrown up and comes down, right? And we know that at the top of its path, its velocity is equal to 0. All right, and so when we write this equation, VF equals VI plus AT, it becomes 0 equals the initial velocity plus negative 9.8 times t, and then we'll have to solve for t. If you don't get either one of those problems, no worries. I think the time to the top problem is worth 0 points after I regrade, because I told you it wouldn't be on the test, and so it's really extra credit. And the second one is not very many points, but make sure you don't skip the weight equation in that problem just because you can't get the middle part. All right, I think that's it for this review. I'll post it to YouTube, and hopefully you'll be watching it before. Remember to get this cheat sheet from Google Classroom before you start taking the exam. The exam, I think we gave an hour and a half. Okay, so should be able to get it complete, but try initially to get it done in an hour, but I think there's an hour and a half for everyone.